Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to be sharing with you how to exercise to lose body fat. What I like to call here training smart, or the third component to the trifecta to aging successfully: fasting long, feasting well, and training smart. If you're new, welcome. My name is Diane Parham. I'm the creator of the online course and community, the Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman, as well as the online course and community, the Midlife Mindset Shift. And here we talk about all things that have to do with us as we go through this aging season. And today we're going to talk about exercise specifically and how you can create an exercise lifestyle that will help you not only stay in the game and really prepare your body to move through these next seasons of life, but also help you utilize body fat more efficiently. So let's get started. If you haven't already done so, please take a second to hit that subscribe button and also make sure that you've hit that bell notification. That way, when I upload new content, you will be notified and you can come check it out. So today, what I would like to focus on is a little mindset shift about exercise and how to track exercise. And I want us to start thinking about heart rate zone training versus creating a calorie deficit through exercise. We now know, or hopefully you know, that calories aren't really what we need to be tracking or manipulating in order for us to lose weight. What we really need to be concentrating on is how well our body is utilizing energy in our system. And that is what we're going to talk about today. That really does happen when we start focusing on heart rate zone training. So if you are not currently tracking your heart rate while exercising, I highly recommend that you start thinking about what it is and how it is you're executing the exercise that you're participating in. And I don't want you to think about calorie burn. What I want you to think about how efficiently and effectively your heart is showing up, or how effectively or efficiently your heart is working through an exercise session. And we're going to talk about that today. So what I really recommend for fat utilization is zone 2 type of training. And that is where we are working out between a 65 and 75% of our maximum heart rate. New research is also coming to the surface, or a lot of research is being put into the effects of exercise and our cognitive health or brain health as well. And just as little as 50% of your maximum heart rate. So if you work out at a target heart rate zone, that's 50% of your maximum heart rate, can actually change the anatomy of our brain. So we're just sending oxygenated blood up to our brain can actually help us with some of that cognitive decline or brain fog that a lot of us are feeling as we're going through this aging process. So tracking your heart rate really does matter, not only just for body fat loss or physique changes, but for our brain health as well. So it's really important that we're tracking these things. So like I said, what I like to teach and what I practice myself is zone 2 training, which is about 65 to 75% of your maximum heart rate. So what's your maximum heart rate? Your maximum heart rate is basically a calculation. If you're just an average exerciser or someone who's just wanting to tap into some stored body fat as a way to energize what it is you're doing your exercise a session, then managing your maximum heart rate is fine. If you're more of an elite athlete, there are some more scientific ways to really track your heart rate, but today we're just going to talk about people like myself, and that's just the average exerciser who's hoping to change some things with their physique or their overall health with just exercise maintenance. So to get to your maximum heart rate, what you want to do is figure out the percent of your max heart rate to get to these training zones. So your maximum heart rate is 208 minus 0.7 times your age. So you want to take your age, you want to multiply it by 0.7, get that number, and then subtract it from 208. That's how you're going to get the percent, or you're going to get your maximum heart rate. And what we want to do is then figure out what our percent of our maximum heart rate is to get into these training zones. So what I like to do is very simple and just work in in the zones of tens, right? So 65 to 75% is my maximum heart rate. And that is zone 2 training. So zone 1 training would be 55 to 64% of my max, to be very specific. And then zone 3 training would be the 76 to about the 84% of my maximum heart rate. And you can just kind of go by the percentages until you get to 100%. We don't necessarily want to be working out at 100% of our maximum heart rate, but there are some benefits to HIIT style training, which is all out effort as well. But for today, we're just going to talk about this for fat utilization for a lot of us here in this community. So you want to do this little calculation first. Very simple. Just get that number. And then all you have to do is calculate out your zones. You can either save them somewhere or get an idea of what a target number that you're shooting for in your exercise bout, or you can use a heart rate monitor. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So really quickly, I want to go over types of exercises that you can do that will really help you tap into fat utilization. And again, these are all based on your current physical fitness level, any sort of limitations that you might have physically. And then I also want to, put a little asterisk in here that you also want to make sure that you're talking to your physician before starting anything new as far as exercise goes. So if you're at 0 and you're wanting to start an exercise regimen, it's always good to talk with your doctor. Make sure you don't have any limiting things that you have to consider before jumping in. If you're already exercising and you just want to fine tune some things, then you should be okay with the information that we're providing here today. So walking is an excellent form of exercise. The one thing that I really like to recommend for women who are trying to utilize fat as their energy source when they're working out or getting through those glycogen stores quickly so you can get into fat utilization is you want to consider how you're walking. And this is where heart rate monitoring really does come into play. If you're out casually walking your dog and it's what I call like a stroll through the park, that may not be enough to create the target heart rate zone that you're hoping for to really tap into fat utilization. So consider how you're walking when you're out for a walk. I like to say a fitness walk is the posture that you want to have your body in when you're out walking. So heel striking, what I like to call butt zapping. So engaging your hamstrings, engaging your glutes when you're out on your walk, making sure that you're, walking from your core, using your upper body, and then monitoring your heart rate to ensure that you're actually getting your heart rate high enough to really tap into utilizing those glycogen stores and then getting into that fat burning state. So there is a difference between just casual walking and fitness walking, and make sure that you go out and you try to tap into that fitness walk. It is a feeling and a mindset when you're out on a walk. Jogging and running, excellent forms of exercise, especially in a zone 2 type of environment. Jogging is different than running. So jogging is a pace and a posture that a lot of people go from walking into jogging, and running is more of a mentality of monitoring a pace. So jogging is very, very beneficial in zone 2 training. It's a very steady state type of run. A lot of endurance athletes utilize this to build mileage or to just increase their aerobic capacity. So there is nothing wrong with working out at a jogging pace. I work out probably 90% of my time at a slow jog. And then when I'm running, I run. So you want to make sure that you know the difference between the two. Oftentimes we get caught up in old paces. Maybe if you were a runner, old paces that you used to run. I call that ego running. Ego running will not benefit you if you're putting yourself in harm's way, or you're not actually putting your body in a type of position where you'll actually yield the result that you're hoping for. So make sure that you understand the difference between the two for you and the goals that you're hoping to achieve. And then biking and cycling are both great forms of exercise as well. I like to consider these two different categories. Also, biking is what I consider like outdoor type of exercise using a bicycle, and I consider cycling indoor type of exercise. So maybe you're doing something on an exercise bike, or you're going to an exercise studio to do some cycling classes. These are different but yield the same type of result, and you can also monitor your heart rate in both of these. Also, swimming is an excellent form of exercise for cardiovascular fitness and zone 2 training. And the beautiful thing about swimming and cycling as well is they are non-impact type of exercises. So if you have any sort of joint injuries or you just don't like the feeling of impact type of things, then these are two excellent forms of exercise as well. And then functional strength training can also be a zone 2 type of training. It is a more dynamic type of strength training where you're probably doing lower type of weights and higher repetitions, and you're allowing your body to keep your heart rate zone up. And I'm going to share with you how I utilize this type of training for zone 2 training as well. So duration and consistency matters when we're using exercise as a means for reducing body fat. We want to make sure that we are in our exercise session for a long enough period of time that we can actually get into utilization of fat stores. Oftentimes, with a lot of exercise sessions, we're just not in it long enough to create that chemical switch between glycogen stores being released and glucose being available in the bloodstream into actual fat utilization. So duration does matter. What I recommend is at least 30 minutes, more if you have the time. I generally work out when I'm just doing a zone 2 cardio type of exercise for about 45 minutes up to 90 minutes. If I'm going to incorporate different styles of my exercise bout, if I'm going to do HIIT training or progression type of runs, and I'm going to do things at a higher intensity, then generally what I do is I keep the duration low and the intensity high. If I'm going to keep my intensity low and really focus on that zone 2 training, then you have to increase the duration of that exercise so that you can actually benefit from that fat utilization. So you want to keep that in mind. We're either longer in the duration and lower in the intensity, or higher in the intensity and lower in the duration, and that combination works really well. I personally teach and like to do myself. I'm seeing amazing results, and so are the women that I'm coaching. Cardio first and then strength training. Once you're in that cardio session and you already have that heart rate in the zone that you want, and you were able to utilize some of that glycogen that's been stored up in your muscles, then you go into a strength training, your heart rate is already elevated. So every moment in the strength training type style of workout is going to better yield a fat burning opportunity. When you start strength training from a cold position, or you haven't had that opportunity of a heart rate elevation yet, it can take a little bit of time to get your heart rate from zone 1 into zone 2, and you only have a short amount of time, then you're not really able to tap into that full fat burning benefit. So I really recommend cardio first and then some strength training, so that you can utilize that fat burning mode already while you're in a strength training session. An example I kind of shared a little bit, but I'll go over again. If I do a 60-minute zone 2 jog, then what I generally do is tap on an extra 15-minute functional strength training. So functional strength training is when I'm actually moving my body and doing more dynamic type of strength exercises while I'm building up that muscular strength. So I don't necessarily do just weight lifting, but I really focus on the functionality of the movements that I am engaging in, and making sure that they are actually getting me to the place that I want to go with the goals that I'm achieving. So what I really like to say to myself is that when I'm in a training session, I'm training for the future life that I want to live. I train in a very specific way so that I can show up for myself in my life doing the things that I want to do. So it's not just about the aesthetics or the physique that I'm trying to obtain, but it's more about, can I bring in my groceries? Can I move a couch without needing my husband to be home? Can I get the Christmas decorations down from the rafters? Can I move boxes around my house? Can I do this simple, everyday life function type of things without needing assistance from someone else? And those are the functional strength training type of moves that I am really committing to these days, so that I can make sure that I can show up for my future self in a physical way. So that's what I like about functional strength training. Some more examples of what I like to do with my fitness as well. So like I said, if I'm doing a HIIT type of workout, so if I'm doing something on my treadmill or on my bike that is going to take my heart rate into the higher intensity level, so maybe a zone 3 type of training, then what I generally do is move my duration into a shorter window. My intensity is going to go up, and then I add on a little bit longer functional strength training. So I get my heart rate revved up here, and then I move through functional strength training with a warm body and a heart rate that's already in. It's going to be in that zone 2 once I recover from my HIIT training. HIIT training is just high intensity interval training. That's where, depending on who you're taking a class with or what you're engaging in, it can be like a 1-to-1 ratio of something. So you're going to go all out, or what I like to do on my treadmill is do a sprint type of pace on my treadmill for 1 minute, and then I recover in a walk or a jog for 1 minute. And then you can kind of repeat those intervals throughout your training session. Another way I like to do HIIT training, either on my bike or on my treadmill, is by increasing the resistance. So on a bike, it's just making that pedal stroke a little bit harder. So the resistance to get that rotation in the pedal is going to be tougher. And on a treadmill, you can do the same type of thing by increasing the incline. So you do not have to engage in burpees or jumping jacks to get a HIIT style workout. Oftentimes the equipment or the things that you already have in your home can be used in this type of workout if you actually know what your heart is doing when you're executing the move. So using resistance is a great way to incorporate a HIIT workout as well, because remember, HIIT workout just means you're increasing your heart rate for a certain period of time. If I'm doing a 45-minute zone 2 or low zone 3 workout on my treadmill or on my bike, oh, there goes my earring. We call that like a progression type of run, or you could even consider that a HIIT type of run, just depending on what your recovery zones and timeframes are going to be. Then what I do is just add on another 15-minute strength training at the end of that cardio workout. So I'm benefiting from the strength training or development of the muscle that I have in my body, as well as utilizing cardio or the zone 2 training to tap into what it is that I'm doing with my fat burning. I know you're probably asking, that's great, but what kind of heart rate monitor do you recommend? So I use either my Apple Watch. I am a hardcore, diehard Peloton fan. So I have a Peloton bike and I have a Peloton tread. My Apple Watch actually connects to my Peloton bike. So that's a no-brainer. I can just click them to connect and I can watch my heart rate right there. When I'm on my treadmill, I usually wear a chest strap, or there's an amazing app that you can get for your Apple Watch called Zones. The free version of the Zones app is amazing. It will tell you on your watch whether you're in zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, or zone 4, or zone 5, and will actually vibrate when you switch zones, and it just shows up on your Apple Watch when you raise your wrist. So I like using this as well. I will use this for outdoor runs also. And then of course there's the Fitbit, which is awesome. I used every version of the Fitbit that came out until I purchased an Apple Watch. I love the Fitbit. It's a great piece of equipment as well. And then for those of you who are maybe a little bit more intense into your workouts or want to go a little bit more high end, a Garmin watch is another one that's a fan favorite for a lot of people who are exercising as well. So it is really important to track your heart rate. It is more important for you in seeing if you're going to achieve the results that you're hoping for than calorie burn. We know calories in, calories out is not an effective way for us to manage our weight, manage our fitness, or manage what it is we want to do with the reduction of body fat. Heart rate monitoring will yield you the best result and will also help you understand how your body is showing up in an effort type of way with what it is that you say that you want to do. Highly recommend incorporating some heart rate zone training into your workouts. This is how I have been able to really significantly reduce body fat, even as a postmenopausal woman. I just turned 55, and I effectively manage the body fat that I have on my body by utilizing heart rate zone training. The other amazing benefit about heart rate zone training, especially in that zone 2 environment, is if you are suffering from any sort of joint pain or you're managing an injury from the past, taking out that really high intensity and bringing the level down a little bit, even in a really brisk walk, can really help you preserve what it is that you hope to do in your physical physical fitness lifestyle as well. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Zone 2 training is where it's at. It is super easy to practice once you figure out what your heart rate zones are, and it will help you stay in the game longer. Thanks for checking out my video today. I always appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, letting me know that this is content that you are appreciating and are valuing here in this community. And as always, if you need anything from me, I'm just a message away. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. If you haven't already done so, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't joined my email list yet, all the information on how to do that is included down below. Every month on the first Saturday of each new month, I start a new Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course where I teach you all the things that you need to know about intermittent fasting and some things to consider about your body and how you can decide how you want to age. I would love to see you in one of my future classes.